everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. We all know that the Indiana Fever had an incredibly difficult season in terms of adversity after adversity after adversity. Now, that's not what was expected at all. Some things, of course, you cannot script, you cannot predict. This team was assembled to win a championship. Absolutely. You had your core group, and then you had the pieces brought in, and people were expecting, oh my goodness, Indiana Fever. People were, oh, super team. Like people were totally complaining about super team and all the stuff. And of course, Indiana Fever fans were excited about the possibilities. Then adversity after adversity after adversity, a word we've been using so much. The greatest accomplishment of this Indiana Fever team is, I believe, the greatest accomplishment of the 2025 WNBA season. Yes, even greater than the Las Vegas Aces winning yet another championship. Indiana being able to do what this team did with everything that went on is the greatest accomplishment of the 2025 season, bar none. And when you think about the semifinals, that they made it to the semifinals, number one, but also that they took the Aces to the brink. And they took the Aces to the brink, meaning 5 minutes away from a spot in the finals with what some people are calling the hospital team or the crutches team, a team without Caitlin Clark, a team where Kelsey Mitchell went out in the third quarter of Game 5 in Las Vegas, a team where Aaliyah Boston fouled out in Game 5. And before either of those two things happened, a team, once again, without Caitlin Clark, a team without Ari, without Sophie, without Sydney, without Bibby, without Dantas. Did I get everybody? Without the pieces the team needed, one would think, to even get into the playoffs and then beyond. Just phenomenal. That's the number one accomplishment. But there's one that is a really close second. Really close second. And some of you might say it supersedes number one. And that is the fact that this team busted narratives throughout this league. Yep. Players, owners, fans out there busted narratives, and that is at the very least a close second. And before I elaborate on that, I'm going to go to an interview that Sydney Coulson did recently on the podcast called Good Follow. Just going to show you a little bit. That's all you're going to need.
The ACL. But let's start first with just the special season you guys have had with the Indiana Fever this year. I think it can be summed up by your end of season Instagram post. Let's take a look at this post from you, Sid. And in the caption, you said, genuinely enjoyed this team and what we did on the court and in the showers. You're so silly. I knew in the off season that God was placing me where I needed to be to grow and learn some necessary lessons. And that's exactly what happened. For you, like, what made this team so special and one to remember in your career?
You know, in the off season, it was obviously like a tough decision for me. I've been with the Aces for so long, and we did some amazing things together as a team. And like I said in the post, I could just feel, you know, God, you know, when you could just feel like you need to get uncomfortable, or like you're being pushed in a direction, and because it makes you uncomfortable, kind of don't want to do it. Like nobody was expecting me to be on this team. Honestly, we know what the views are of this organization from the outside. But I knew enough people in it to know that we could do something special and that we could potentially change some minds and some views, and it was good. Like,
now let's unpack that. I just told you that the number one accomplishment of this team is that they even got as far as they got, and then to be so close to the finals like that. Aces versus Indiana, that was like the finals, because the other one, that sweet, nah, that was the final. So that was number one. But what was the close second? Why did I show you that clip? I want to tell you why. It's what Sydney Coulson said that went unchallenged by the interviewer, by Roz. She said, and I'm paraphrasing, everyone knows what the perspective is about the Indiana Fever on the outside. Everyone from the outside knows what the perspective is. And then she went on to say, we were able to change some mindsets, or we were hoping to change some mindsets. But Roz didn't say, well, no, I don't know. What is the perspective from everyone on the outside? That tells you this thing is a thing, not even challenged. So my question to you is, what was Sydney Coulson talking about? Come on, we all know the answer. The perspective about the Indiana Fever, unfair perspective, I will say, about the Indiana Fever, is this whole concept of race. It started before Caitlin Clark's rookie season with Angel Reese doing this whole thing around the court. And then fan bases out there turn this into a whole race issue. Social media, the cesspool that it is. All this stuff, the race stuff. If you were a fan of Caitlin Clark, then you were part of the Klan. They gave that nickname, the KKK. People are still using it. And God forbid you be Black and be a fan of Caitlin Clark, then you are definitely a part of that Klan, because you're a sellout to your own people, because somehow basketball became all about race, and somehow the Indiana Fever were the ones who were seen as the Klan and the racists. That's what Sydney Coulson is talking about when she says, what the mindset is on the outside about this team. We get to Caitlin Clark's rookie season, of course, and it's like mayhem with the whole race stuff. Oh, she's the great white hype. Oh, she is all this stuff, and the fans are terrible. And then you even have owners of teams making comments about they not like us, and other owners. Well, in the offseason, why does Caitlin have to be on the cover of Time by herself? And there's a whole race thing around that. And you have players in Caitlin's rookie season saying things like, oh, it boils my blood when people say that Caitlin hasn't achieved what she has, or doesn't get the recognition that she gets because she's white, because it's absolutely because she's white. So you got this whole thing going on surrounded by race, and Indiana Fever fans are deemed racist. Even during that rookie season, they want Caitlin Clark to speak about all the ills that's going on in the world, as if her fans are the racist ones, and as if we're not seeing and hearing things on the outside toward Caitlin Clark. But she is expected to answer questions about the whole race issue. And then if she didn't give them the answer, which apparently she didn't give them the answer that they thought was good enough, then now they're going to get on. Yeah, Tijane Carrington, she's going to get on social media. She's going to blab. Must be nice to have the luxury of all of the stuff. And for some reason, it was stuck on Indiana Fever fans and on the Indiana Fever team that they had a problem with other people's race. Meanwhile, they're just trying to play basketball. Aaliyah Boston, and it continues this season where people are like, oh, Aaliyah Boston, she's a sellout. What is she all close to Caitlin Clark? I am so disgusted. Their ritual, you're going to be amazing because you are amazing and all that. And people coming after Aaliyah Boston. And in this second season, the whole race thing continued with game number 1. Angel Reese, again. This time, supposedly she heard people making monkey noises and she heard other people saying things. And then you got other people acting like it was a definite. And so now the league does this whole investigation of Indiana Fever fans. And of course, they find nothing, but the stigma still remains and it festers and it oozes out like pus. Excuse the descriptive language. That is what Sydney Coulson is talking about. And so when in free agency, people found out that she was coming to play for Indiana. She is a well-liked player in the WNBA, played with the Las Vegas Aces, won championships, very funny, great in the locker room, all that. And people are like, wait. She's going to play with that team? The group who ain't like us team? And then you had Bree Turner, who's like the activist. She's going to play for that team. Natasha Howard, she's going to play for that team. Kelsey Mitchell, what? They didn't treat her right because they were all into Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell, Cheryl Swoops would say, they didn't treat her right. There's all this whole narrative. And people are like, I cannot believe these players I really respect are selling out to go play with them. The people with the R on their chest, or across their forehead, that scarlet letter R. That's just the narrative that's there. And Sydney Coulson is letting us know, slightly apart from all the defying of odds and adversity that this team did, the closest accolade this team gets is busting narratives, because Sydney Coulson came in along with Natasha Howard, along with other players who had to come in because of the adversity. And all we hear them saying is, I love this team. That's what you hear Sid say here. That's what she talks about. The link to the full video or the full interview will be in the description of this video. But what they're saying is, we love this team. We're a family on this team. We get along well on this team. And still, there are people who are still talking about, oh, this is the cult. This is the Klan. This is the Sophie Cunningham. Oh, this is the MAGA Barbie. This is the whole, as if whoever they voted for makes them somehow better than what somebody else votes for. That's like the height to me of egotism, is to think that somehow your values are more important than someone else's values, how you skew whatever you think. But I won't even get into all that. But yeah, oh my goodness, no, they can't get along with Sophie, and no, they can't. Oh, listen, they're the racist group. And all you do is hear every person on this team, black, white, Australian, whatever, coaches, players, professional player development, I should say. All you hear is them talk about, we've got love. I have never been on a team as close as this team. We are together. This just totally defies all that people want to believe, and still pushing the narrative about this team. And it doesn't even matter for some what people are saying, because people love to put blinders on. I see racism, like I hear them making monkey noises, like we got with the very first game of the season. So the greatest accomplishment, I think, is what they managed to achieve with all the injuries and players like DeWanna Bonner, who decided to walk away. Speaking of whom, she came in. I know they had that whole narrative back in with her and AT, and then DeWanna Bonner comes in before she decides to abandon her job, and people just embrace her and love her. And she's like, oh my goodness, the love I've never had. Right. And people are just like, man, this doesn't fit the narrative. Indiana is busting narratives. Of course, you're still going to have people out there who are going to just, no matter what you say, oh, I know, they're just faking it all, every one of them. It's kind of like people who would say, you hear Kelsey speaking well of CC, you hear Caitlin speaking well of Kelsey, calling her MVP, calling her GOAT, walking off the court with her arm, all that. And there are people, Indiana Fever fans, by the way, or I should say probably Caitlin Clark fans, because everybody who's a Caitlin Clark fan will tell you they're not necessarily Indiana Fever fans, but even they will go, oh no, that's just fake. That's just not real. Or what, people tend to they want to believe what they want to believe no matter what. But the players on this team, like we saw from Sid Coulson, busting narratives big time about the Indiana Fever team. You have to totally stick your head in the sand to not see that it ain't even that it is the perspective, as Sid phrased it, of those who are on the outside, not those who are on the inside. And it continues. And I'll do another video about Ariel Power's love letter in her season with this so-called racist Indiana Fever team. It's a lie when you think about this organization or true fans. Do you have some weird people out there who say some weird things? Yeah, you do. That is not the fan base of the Indiana Fever. Those are some strange people, and it's not at all indicative of the fan base of this team. The fan base made up of all different shades of people, men, women, children, and again, all different shades of people. And that's the coaching staff as well. And you even have Caitlin Clark fans, so-called Caitlin Clark fans, who just like, they don't want to see it. Those are the people that I say on the outside. Oh, the coach, she doesn't like white people. You got all this stuff. And yet over and over again, you get players and coaches and Sid Coulson in this video clip busting narratives. That, I say, is very close to being 5 minutes away from the finals. It might even supersede it. It is the epitome of where sports and culture connect, or shall we say, collide. This is why, which again, I'll get to in a separate video where Ariel Power says, this is part of why what is going on with this team is so much more than basketball. It's all of this stuff, and it's busting lies. And kudos and trophy to Sydney Colson, who said, basically, we can only hope to change some mindsets. They love their team. They love their true fans. And we love the players. And it don't matter what color you are. Anybody doing narrative busted with a huge hammer. I love it. And I put it really close to them almost making it to the finals. And I can't wait to talk to you some more about what Ariel Power said in her love letter to the Indiana Fever. Hey, truth busts the narrative every day of the week. Good job, Sid. But really interesting that it went unchallenged. Hopefully that'll change. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.